seconds. It's live. All right. Good morning, everyone. Hey, it's John Ng here, and Gabrielle Vittori of Choice Debt Solutions. John from Money Jar Concept, obviously. Good morning again. It's a beautiful Wednesday today. Happy Hump Day. We are here at Lola Cafe in Seddon to talk about something really interesting. Many of you would have seen my video with Julie Devon Barker from Buyers Home Base last few weeks, and we'll be catching up with her very soon. As part of my continuation of my video series, I'm going to be catching up with important people in the finance sector, in various parts of the finance sector, and they'll get to introduce themselves and talk about what they do and how it may help you or affect you. Well, over here today is Gabrielle. She's a debt mediator. We have known each other for about a year through social media, spoken over the phone. I'm actually seeing her for the first time today, but she's super nice. She hasn't bitten me yet. Gabrielle, you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about what you do?
Yes, so Gabrielle Vittori from Choice Debt Solutions. I've had my business for about 14 years now. It started from doing some admin work in a mortgage manager's office. He was coming across clients that had a lot of debt, and valuations were coming in quite low, and the debt was stopping the file from moving forward. So he'd asked me to contact the banks and try and negotiate reduced payouts on, a couple of the credit cards, just $1,000.
How much was it, by the way?
What was
the debt there?
The original, or the first one, it was about a $30,000 debt. So in total,
this was 10 years
15
ago.
Years ago, about
15 years ago.
Yeah.
30. It's a lot of money.
So
yep.
I would just contact the 2 or 3 banks and just knock off a couple of $1,000s here and there, and that was enough to make the difference for that file to move ahead and that client to be able to refinance and settle all their debts.
That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah, it is.
And I think it still is.
Yeah, per couple. $30,000 to me is a massive amount of debt. Unfortunately, though, in the 15 years, it's increased incredibly. It's more.
When you say increase, what are you talking about here?
The average debt I'm seeing now per couple, per file, is about $150,000.
That's unsecured.
Unsecured credit cards and personal loans.
150 grand in credit cards and personal loans.
Yeah,
so
massive.
would you say a lot of people in our society in this day and age are keeping up with the Jonases?
Oh, definitely, yes. Yep.
Wow, that's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
150 grand.
Yeah, and look, some people make poor decisions, and there's a lot of people out there that do accumulate that sort of debt from poor decisions. Most of the people I'm dealing with have had a significant life event, so they may have had someone in the family that's been quite unwell and not been able to work for a period of time, so they've had to rely on credit card debt.
Did you see? Is that happen a lot?
That's the most common.
That's the most common. Yeah.
Then you've got failed businesses, failed marriages, all sorts of life events like that.
So a failed business is considered a life event.
Yeah, I would say. Well, yes. If somebody pours all of their equity and then accumulates a lot of credit card debt trying to keep a business afloat, and then it all falls to the wayside, they're left with virtually a property with very little equity and a lot of credit card debt. Yeah, so I see that quite a lot.
I just want to say hi to a viewer there. Hi, Michelle. That's actually my wife watching. Say hi, Michelle, and by responding. Anyway, so what else is debt mediation? Obviously, it's a very tricky word. People think, oh, you're here to clean up my credit. Or what is there more to it than?
Look, it is quite difficult to understand for a lot of people. What I do is very specialised. So I need to come across clients that have significant debt, but they also need to have access to money.
Access to money?
Access to money.
What do you mean by that?
So in order for me to go to the banks and negotiate a reduced payout on their credit card debts, I need to offer the bank something. So it's not, I don't go to the bank and offer them a reduced amount and then the client goes on a payment plan. if the bank is going to accept a reduced payout, let's use a $10,000 Westpac credit card for an example.
Yep.
If I go to Westpac and say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith have had this significant life event, they're in a situation where they're about to lose their home, they could potentially go bankrupt, here's an opportunity for you to avoid losing this client to bankruptcy. May I offer you $6,000 to settle this debt?
So it's 40% off, full and final
That's right.
debt.
And the bank looks at the paperwork that I've presented and checks everything out, and they make a decision. And if they say yes, that $6,000 is paid off on the credit card in one lump sum, and the $4,000 is written off.
Now, does that affect the client's capacity to borrow Westpac going forward?
Possibly, it will for their credit cards, yes. Mortgages, that is a very unclear area. It's hard for me to answer that now because of the new credit, reporting. When I started my business 15, 14 years ago, no, it made no impact at all. I would say generally it shouldn't impact them being able to get a mortgage. It will for credit cards, definitely.
Yep.
But it will all depend on what state their credit card was in when they came to me. If they were already in arrears,
Well,
they
yeah.
were already having trouble maintaining those cards, then what I'm going to do isn't going to impact them. If, however, they have maintained everything, there is a chance that it may. And I really honestly, with hand on heart, can't answer that question 100%.
Obviously, if they can't borrow Westpac because of that settlement payout for the unsecured debt, just going a bit off tangent, a broker like myself, I'll be able to get you another lender. Putting you in another position.
Absolutely.
If you want to get another home, you can't go through Westpac, you can go to someone else.
Yeah.
Yep.
And look, I've dealt with lots of clients over the years who've had debts with all the four majors plus, 5 or 6, 7, 8, even 10 different lenders, and they've still been able to get a home loan.
100%.
Yeah.
So there, just because you missed some of you had some of your debts and it was cleared out from someone like Gabrielle, and you might have a poor credit rating. There's always options out there. There are lenders out there who will cater to you. It probably wouldn't be through someone that you know, but it's a very massive landscape out there. Someone like Gabrielle will help you out, and someone like myself, we're all industry professionals out there, and we'll be able to find a solution for you. Tell us a little bit more about how, how do we know when's the absolute tipping point where, okay, you know what? Gabrielle might come in, or how do they know when to contact you? How do you even know that there's someone out there who needs your services?
Well, that's an interesting question because I generally get my clients through brokers. So brokers will come across a client that has a significant amount of debt, and the broker is trying to refinance them to clear out all their debt, but it's just the LVR is just too high. So the brokers normally contact me and ask me to get involved. So I look at the whole scenario, I look at the client's history with every individual creditor, I look at their history in general, I go through their bank statements just like a broker would, and as long as the broker can find a lender that's willing to go there and is willing to take on what Choice Debt Solutions does, and there is many out there that do, then I can move ahead and work on negotiating those reduced payouts, and then the settlement takes place. All the debts that I've negotiated get paid out at settlement, and the client moves forward with a new mortgage, no debt.
So the money is not put into their pockets to pay out. So
No.
Yeah.
No, it all gets cleared out at settlement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to put the money in their pocket and they'll take the round-the-world trip.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Now we want to try and keep the video short as well. Now, in 2 minutes, Gabrielle, tell us a little bit more about what you might see this year. It's the start of the year. A lot of people have gone back to work.
Yeah.
Are you seeing any trends? That's stuff that's come back to your on your laptop, and some files on your desk now that you're back from?
Look, Christmas is a really hard time for a lot of people, especially if they've had a significant life event. Most people just want to get through Christmas, buy their kids their Christmas presents, go on a little short holiday, and they'll see the credit cards really becoming uncontrollable. You're unable to maintain them. And, come end of January, that's when I get really busy. I get the call saying, I just can't handle my credit card debt anymore. We're tipping on $100,000 worth of credit
Wow.
card debt. Yeah, what am I going to do? I'm going to go bankrupt. Well, I'm the alternative to bankruptcy.
An alternative to bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people know that someone like yourself exists. Yeah. So, but you see a lot of stuff on media these days where it's we haven't got a solution, we're just going to get bankrupt. So why isn't good people like yourself made more prominent out there in the media? Why aren't why is it?
Question.
Why aren't there more people like you being talked about?
I don't know.
Is it a taboo topic or?
Well, there is. It is and it isn't. There's a lot of people out there that believe what myself and other credit mediators do is not necessarily a good thing, in that a lot of people believe if you've loaned the money, you should pay it back. And look, I do agree with that to some extent. However, in my 14 years of doing this, I've seen the banks do some very, very unethical things, equity stripping. I have a client at the moment who's had I won't say who, really slipped there, a credit card with a particular lender for 34 years. And when I did my due diligence on that, I saw limit increases sometimes twice a year. And
they were offered an increase just willy-nilly, and they just took it up without considering their ability to repay.
Yes, that's right. Well, look, whether they consider the ability to repay within their own four walls is one thing, but are they investigating whether that client has significant other debts? And in this instance, this gentleman
has a whole lot of debt.
Of other debt. Yeah.
To see someone tuning in. Hi, Ronald. How are you? Say hi if you can, if you want. Okay, that's very interesting. I'm mindful of time. We don't want to keep the video too long. Now, any parting shots before this video ends?
Look,
how do we contact you?
How do we contact me? Well, you can contact me through yourself.
Yeah.
I have my Facebook page.
All the information, I'll leave them on the comments, and I'll edit the post as well later. So I think if someone or even yourself think that Gabrielle services are needed to help you out of this difficult times, absolutely reach out to me. I'm happy to pass Gabrielle's details to you. She's just not far from here. She's South Melbourne. Hop, skip, and throw away from the bridge.
Yep.
And like I said earlier, she doesn't bite. And that's pretty much it. We'll leave this video short so there's enough content for the next one. We might catch up at your office the next time.
Yeah, fantastic.
You come all the way here, so I'll come over to your side there.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Now, it's John and Gabrielle here up in Lola Cafe in Seddon. Any comments there, or feedback, just leave it in the video. Tune in soon and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.